Now, what I honestly wanted to do was to talk about Digimon again. And because of the new games, Digimon Story Time Stranger, um, people had questions like as to who the Royal Knights were, what is an X antibody, all this other kind of stuff about King Yggdrasil. But unfortunately, um, something has happened, and it has led me to talk about this because for the longest kind of time, and honestly, ever since I made that video regarding Death Battle and their whole take on anime characters versus comic book, Western comic book characters, American comic book characters, at that, I had got a lot of people upset, especially from what I had also how I reacted with Vegeta and Thor. And ever since, I have been getting the same comments or these rebuttals from people who honestly don't really know what the hell they're talking about and only really just having the nerve to say something because they looked at a photo on Google of a comic of this character's strongest points, and because of that they feel as though that they know everything about a character, and they just read what they read online, and that's about it. Well, I am here to say that in spite of people trying to rewrite their own reality and rewrite history, we're stepping back into reality. American IPs are going to shit. And the reason why I say that because of recent news regarding two IPs that some of you care about, some of you don't. But I know for people on my channel, some of the people, especially when I do Power Ranger live streams, they care about this topic a lot. And one of these topics that has been going around, and it's been an off and on thing as to whether it's going to happen or it isn't going to happen. This Power Ranger comic, well, not Power Ranger comic, Power Ranger show that was believed to reboot the entire series that Netflix was going to sponsor. And I had gotten the breaking news that Netflix will no longer be going through with that. They will no longer be doing this reboot for Power Rangers on their show. And now Hasbro has to find where else to do something with this IP now that that's happened. And not only that, I'm sure people have already heard about James Gunn, and I'm trying to find the tweet because I had seen the tweet. If I can't, it's fine. I can still talk about it from here. Because I saw the tweet, and it had stated that Warner Brothers Discovery announces that the company is going up for sale. Yes, and hope to God that Disney doesn't feel as though that they, you know, have a chance to do something because they don't need it. But as I was getting ready to say, James Gunn was let go by Warner Brothers, and everything that regarding the movies, regarding the comics, everything's getting rebooted and kicked. Everything. Now, given this information regarding both IPs, Rio, why are you saying this? We still got Marvel. We still have the movies coming up for them. We still have Spider-Man getting his movie. We still have the new Avengers movie coming. We still have all. None of that matters. You want to know why? Because it is very apparent that despite the fact that there's still a group of fans, a community, a fan base that wants these IPs to do well, that want the IPs to keep thriving and getting better with effort and love and aspiration. The companies, unfortunately, that own these IPs don't give two shits of a rat's ass about how we feel. They would rather go and make a quick buck off of these IPs and not give a damn whether or not they're meeting to our standards, meaning to what we're asking for, meaning to what we're paying them to go see, to go experience, to buy. The point of this video is that it's only a matter of time before Disney Marvel does the same shit. And despite the fact that I am a fan of Spider-Man, I know that going to see these movies and continuing to shell out money to experience these things from these American companies that own these IPs is a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake. And the crazy thing is, we should not be thinking like this. But unfortunately, a lot of us have to wake up and smell the coffee. Now, is it all bad? No. Not really. Because fortunately enough, we have companies outside of the US who actually want to do something with these IPs. You have Marvel took on Fighting Souls that's coming, right? You have the Power Ranger beat 'em up. You have the comics. You have I don't know what kind of hope that anyone can have for DC right now, though. Because given the situation, with everything being rebooted, and James Gunn literally coming out of his mouth saying that, like, there was never really a chance for Batman to get his story completely revamped and really worked on in quality and every way, even though they spent all that money on that Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. I believe that's what his name is, from Twilight. This is what it's come to. The reason why I'm making this video, and the reason why I said what I said all those years ago, talking about Death Battle, talking about the pointlessness having these characters fight these anime characters, is because it has been officially declared that anime is the #1 media franchise in America. They are the #1, and rightfully so. Why are they #1 though? Let's talk about that. Why is it that IPs outside the US, like anime, tokusatsu shows, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Godzilla, right, Super Sentai, and even Chinese films are doing spectacular coming over here and getting the push, like Neja 2 being the #1 animated film of all time? Why is so much success there than it is for the home base stuff, for the home base IPs? There's a reason why. Because people are seeing effort and quality and laziness and just blatant greed with some of these IPs. Now, again, is it all bad? No. But I'll tell you what, it genuinely is a letdown and a huge disappointment because these companies, whether they give a damn or not, own the most popular fictional characters, the most iconic characters in fiction, and they are continuing to try to make a quick buck while putting their bottom line and putting their own narrative, their own spin into something that honestly didn't need any of that, but get upset and mad when we don't support them. And then the developers turn right around and complain and whine and cry and bitch and moan that companies outside of America, that anime, that certain entertainment shows are doing more. Hell, even the old shit that was made all back in when we were younger is being viewed more than the new stuff. And I made that video already talking about that. But I'm making the video again because at this point you're wasting money, and our money at that, on things that we were hopeful for, things that, you had promised, blatantly promised that it was going to be big, it was going to be a fresh start, a chance to get a new audience, a chance to get us to be excited for these IPs like Batman, Superman, the Justice League, Spider-Man, Avengers. A chance to revitalize Power Rangers and make sure that once and for all it can stand on its own, instead of having articles and these tweets from people who are trying to separate Power Rangers from Super Sentai and trying to make it seem like Power Rangers in this moment in time can stand on its own two legs, when really it only has one. Some of you want to sit and try to dictate and negate what is blatantly obvious, and that's the fact that the people behind these IPs are lazy. They don't want to make quality. They don't want to make a good, compelling story. So then it's left to fans to make fan-made things, to make fan-made content, because the people who actually own these IPs keep falling short every single time. But then we spin it. Then the people outside the US have the money to buy these IPs. They buy it, and the first thing you want to do as a former owner of these IPs is complain and whine and moan because people from outside the US are taking our entertainment. But the only fault of why that's happening is you. You're the reason this is happening. You're the reason that people from Saudi Arabia, that people from China, that people from Japan are stepping in to entertainment, to American entertainment, and are making their mark way better than you are, because you're so busy with politics, you're so busy with feminism, you're so busy with trying to profit on the same story of racism, When people are tired of hearing that, people are tired of the politics. They're tired of the racism stories. They're tired of the feminism propaganda. They're tired of all of that. People are sick to death. It's the same story each and every single time. But you get mad when people don't want to watch Ironheart. You get mad when people don't want to watch that Star Wars story, The Acolyte. You get mad when people don't want to buy your product, because it's the same thing over and over. And like I said, meanwhile, spin it. Last year, Godzilla -1 was the most watched film in theaters. So much so that it got a black and white release afterwards. And people went to go see it. Because people loved Godzilla. It was a fantastic film. And after that, people wanted more of it. People wanted Ultraman. Then we got Shin Ultraman, and that was phenomenal. We got a Shin Kamen Rider. That was fantastic. A darker story of Kamen Rider, yes. And then Super Sentai, taking a jab at Power Rangers by shooting the Red Ranger in the back, whether it was intentional or not on their part. People were still making the comparisons. Because what was Power Rangers doing? Not a goddamn thing. And all respect to Power Rangers. I will always have respect for what I grew up on. But what I am not going to do is ignore logic and ignore facts. And the fact is, the Power Rangers, while it was the highest or one of the most entertaining popular things in the 90s, came from a show that did it way back in the 50s. Well, actually not in the 50s. I believe it was the 80s. They did it way back when. And even though they had their problems, we roll back to now, where the action is incredible. And the only thing the Power Rangers had to do was to keep adapting. Because that's how they survived for that long. They kept adapting to the shows that Super Sentai was making. That's how they kept surviving. And to sit here and say at this point that Power Rangers could survive without Super Sentai, that is illogical. It's illogical and honestly stupid. Because all respect to him, rest in peace to Jason David Frank. But we wouldn't get anything about him in that way if it weren't for the person who played as Barai as the Dragon Ranger in Zyuranger. We wouldn't get any of that goodness if it weren't for that. And we have to acknowledge that once and for all. It's not making it seem like Super Sentai is just second best. No. How are they second best when they're still going? Meanwhile, Power Rangers can't even seem to get a reboot off of the ground. And the last reboot was something that was frowned upon. And then after it had gotten the success that it deserved, the second movie was canceled. How can they be still number one? How? And then in the same breath calling Kamen Rider a Power a Power Ranger kind of thing. It's not a Power Ranger thing. It never will be. Kamen Rider was the show that came first. believe it or not. It was Super Sentai that came after Kamen Rider. That's how they got the idea. Take a Kamen Rider, change the color, and make different colors of them. And make a team. And give it a giant robot. That's Super Sentai. That's what they are. And then you got anime. I'ma say it again. Shout out to Toonami. Because without Toonami, honestly, a lot of us wouldn't know shit about anime. Toonami put anime on the map. And put a lot of motherfuckers on. Back in the day. And yes, at the same time, the comic books were doing what was the comic book characters, American comic book characters were still doing great. You had Justice League Unlimited. You had Spider-Man still. You had Batman. You had the X-Men. But things have changed now. You see who is still here and who isn't. You see who is struggling and who's not. And regardless of the fact that anime is sometimes have their shortcomings, and they do. They do. It isn't weighing them down. You look at Marvel, DC, these iconic characters are getting carried down because of blatant laziness and this activist propaganda. So much so that nobody wants to support them anymore. And so now it's just gradually going down to the point where now we got nothing from DC now. Everything has now been scrapped. And regardless of the fact that you were a fan of the Snyderverse, of anything like that, for right now, there are no new plans. Marvel, while they have this roadmap, they're still fucking up. Ironheart was worse. Agatha all along, kaput. This new Avengers movie is sounding like it's going to be a shit show. But then we turn around and make these death battles where we're having anime characters who could easily kick these comic book heroes' asses, if I'm being frank. We're having them lose most of the times because of biases and people who don't read comics. And then here comes videos debunking a lot of the shit. People who actually read the stuff. Do we get a correctness in it? No. Do we get any kind of like acknowledgement in it? No. Just move on to the next character. To the point where we hear the whole segment, and I clipped it. Y'all saw me clip it. Boomstick was talking about. Well, I mean, Wiz was talking about how, what's the point of all of this if one IP is doing better than this one, and the only reason why we're having this IP win each and every time we have them fight together is because of bias and nostalgia and what we grew up in our childhoods. Because that's irrelevant compared to the fact that we had Toonami, and a lot of us, including me and Urban Ninja, Master Zen, we watched this heavy. Heavy. The point I'm making is, you people who are in charge of these IPs and these projects can't complain when American IPs are being taken over by other companies outside of the US to do right by them and actually put effort into these iconic characters when you were behind the wheel first. But your seat got took because you were lazy. And you wanted to do what you wanted to do. You were trying to make a quick buck. And you flopped. And you made the IP flop. And all the future projects that you had coming forward flop. And be discontinued or canceled. And eventually that's going to happen to Marvel. They keep rolling like this, the same is going to happen. They're going to lose money. They're going to keep losing money. Regardless of the fact that you have these people who turn off their brains to go see these movies because they just want to pass the time. And they got kids. Some of them. Kids don't give a damn. We cannot keep making excuses for this shit anymore. We cannot keep ignoring logic. We cannot keep ignoring what's right in our fucking face. We can't keep doing that. It's actually insane for us to do that. To continue to do that. Listen, you don't have to listen to a word I have to say. You could literally just chop this up as me ranting and raving about nothing, right? You could literally say that I'm making all this up and it's all a lie. But what you can't deny is what's happening. Anime has been on the rise for a while. And whether there are some who are fake fans and just doing it for attention and revenue and things of that nature, you can't deny what is quality and what's just being shafted. Not because of the fact that the product sucks. It's because people behind it are making the product suck. You can blatantly see it. And whether you are a super critic of anime or whatever, not all that's honestly irrelevant at this point. It's honestly irrelevant. It's making the money. People talk about going to see these anime movies all the time, and they love it. They love it. You only hear about people glazing the hell out of a Superman movie and Batman movie because they were fans of those IPs. They were fans of those characters. So of course they're going to say something right. Of course they're going to say something nice. But that's just them. That isn't the overarching message that I hear all the time. Pardon me for my swallowing. I'm making this message because I honestly care about this shit. As a fan of a lot of this stuff I consume a lot of stuff. I consume a lot of things. I can tell effort and quality at this point versus just sheer laziness. And just the energy of just, we don't really care. You're gonna buy it anyway because it's Batman. You're gonna buy it anyway because it's Spider-Man. You're gonna buy it because it's the Fantastic Four. You're gonna buy it because we're talking something about the X-Men. You're gonna buy it because it's something about Batman, something about Superman, something about the Justice League. You're going to consume it and buy it no matter what. So why should you even say anything? Because we want better. If I am kicking out money, I want the best out of my fucking investment. I don't have time, and I'm sure a lot of you don't have time to be giving out money like that. Again, I said this in my live stream. Times are hard. Ain't nobody got money like that to keep kicking out. A lot of people are grown. They have bills to pay. We're not kids anymore, a lot of us who are consuming this media. We're not children. We have responsibilities. We have things to get done. A lot of us don't want our time being wasted. For some of us, the little time that we have. So in all seriousness, you can't complain when other companies who have the means and the money buy you out and do better than you. And you had your chance the entire time. You had the ball. You had the premium hammer, but you thought everything was a nail, so you just kept. You had the ball, but you threw it over there, over the fence, and shrugged your shoulders like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you guys want me to do. You want to go get the ball. You gonna play anyway, even without the ball. It's a damn shame that I'm saying all of this because there are still people who care about these IPs. There are still people who care about Power Rangers. Who buy all of this stuff because they love it that much. They care about it that much. People who make their own little storylines because they love it that much. And while a lot of it is clearly unhealthy and they need to talk to somebody about it, you can't deny that you're letting people down. You're letting your consumers, your people who are actually the ones who are actually your core audience down. It ain't just the kids that y'all got to target to. I say that all the time. Look, y'all can sit here and say that it's only for kids, but who's going in a Walmart, a Target, or a Barnes and Nobles and buying your product? It ain't just the kids. The kids have to ask their parents to buy the stuff. It's the grown people who are going in buying the collector's edition of Batman, the collector's edition of Superman, the biography of Superman, comics about the Justice League, the video games, the new line of Power Ranger toys, Megazords, Star Wars merch, new lightsabers. It ain't these kids. It ain't these kids. These kids don't have the means to do that yet. What you think, 4-year-old Timmy, he just has this overarching grip on his parents? Not really. They gotta wait till Christmas to buy that stuff. Some of them. If they don't have a birthday in October or in late November, hey, you know. Because I've been hearing stuff, okay? I've been hearing stuff. Former directors, former developers having something to say about what's happening. Why Chinese media, Japanese media, and things of that nature is taking over. Because you had your shot. You had your shot, and and these media companies just are taking over because you lost your chance. You dropped the ball, dude. Now we about to see what is getting ready to happen. And I'm not the only one that's saying this stuff. There are plenty other people who are saying the exact same thing. Just that for right now, I'm speaking from the heart. That's all I wanted to say. Okay? Again, you don't have to listen to a word I have to say. You don't. But we have to wake up and smell the cappuccino. Smell the coffee, man. It's the truth. It's the God honest truth. And you blatantly saying that, oh, I'm not interested in that, I'll give it a try. That is not offering a solution to this shit. I understand you can't do anything about that except consume the product, which is part of the problem, because if there are still people consuming the product, they don't think that they're doing wrong. Why would these companies think that they're doing wrong if you're still the consumer? We have to speak about this stuff. Your opinion matters if you're kicking out money for it. Your opinion matters if you putting gas in your car to go to a theater to go see a damn movie. Your opinion matters. If you buying a bus ticket, ordering an Uber, a Lyft, and you're going to these certain stores or theaters and you're buying stuff, they're pocketing your money. So of course you have the right to say something. I spoke as much as I could. I can't speak no more. Look, y'all have a good rest of the week. Stay safe out here. Your opinion matters. You're a consumer. You deserve quality in the things that you are interested in and enjoy. You shouldn't have to wait 10 to 15 years for these companies who own these IPs to wake the fuck up. You shouldn't have to wait that long. Because by the time you wait that long, you'll be 40. A lot of us will be 50 years old. Most people don't have the patience for some of that stuff. That's it. See y'all later.